my versatility and showing how versatile I am. And, I wasn't expecting it, but you just got to do what Coach asked you to do, and I did a pretty good job. So Coach was happy with what I did, and so he thought I could handle it.
What was the whole transition like? I guess making that jump in the moment sort of thing.
It wasn't that bad to me because that's where I played at originally. So safety was my second spot. So going to star was kind of just like being back to what I usually do, and it's actually a little bit more comfortable being back at star than rather being back there at safety. But yeah.
You're still able to make all the same calls. Is that what your responsibilities are now? Or?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You still make calls. You can make calls wherever you are on the field. It's just usually the safety is the one who calls it, and whoever knows or whoever sees what's going on can call it first. So.
What did you see from Deontay with him stepping in?
We was all when we found out. Well, I was when I said we should put DT in. And, coach was like, all right, we gonna do it. And I was talking to him on the sideline. It's just another game of football. And he was out there. He did a good job. And I don't think he had any mental errors. So that's really good for him.
It was your call. Were they thinking about him before?
I mean, they was going back and forth, and DT in my class, and I've really been working with him and rooting for him the whole season. And I said I was talking to Coach Pruitt, and I was like, yeah, let's put DT in, and that we kind of all agreed and put him in.
It's got to feel pretty good to have that sort of thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
What did it say about the secondary that the losses that y'all have experienced? Even preseason with Maurice and stuff like that. Y'all been able to still produce out there and put together a really solid secondary.
Yeah, we always got to work with what we have, and we always try to no matter who we have, we always try to just execute and do our job. And I feel like no matter who you are or what rank you are, this or that, if you just do your job and do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be able to play and play well.
Has DT given you a thank you yet for
no.
the game? And does he owe you one?
It wasn't just me. It was more than one person telling him to wanting him to go in. But he was nervous. But it was good for him to be out there.
You were talking after the Arkansas game about how you were tired. You wanted to get off the field. When you see Alabama's offense do what it does to opponents, where it wears them down towards the end, and has like those 8 or 9 minutes drive, what does that do to a defense? And can you talk about it from your perspective?
We was kind of hoping for a long drive, and they gave it to us at the end. But it kind of gives us breaks and helps us rest a little bit, so we're not out there for 45 minutes a game and it's crazy times like that. So when the offense does have long drives like that, it definitely helps us.
And what's it like though from a defender when you're feeling it from the other side, where you're having to deal with the drive that's going on for 6, 7, 8 minutes?
Usually when that's happened, that means we're not doing our job. So, and that doesn't really happen too much, but it has happened before. Like you said, in Arkansas, it has happened, and you're tired physically, mentally, and you just gotta try to do what you're supposed to do, even while you're that tired. So, and just do your job, really.
You've had a few games, you as in Alabama, but y'all have had a few games where the first half the defense really held its own and just kind of kept the opposition out of the end zone or whatever, and then obviously the offense kind of came on and took advantage of that second half. It's kind of like a tag team a little bit. Do you feel that way? Like if you do your job in the first half, the offense will come through when need be?
I think the offense is kind of works on its own. They feed off of us and we feed off of them too. But I don't really think necessarily that if we do our job, they're going to do their job. That's just when they start. At halftime, they make adjustments and stuff like that, and they get to see more things at halftime and make adjustments, and that's when they get to make plays.
I guess in a situation like on Saturday when the defense comes off the field, 9 minutes to go in the game, you go over to the sideline, you start playing on what you need to do next possession, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, then it just kind of keeps happening, and you guys just don't have to go back out there, right?
Oh yeah, when our offense went out there, we was already planning on it and like looking at adjustments for the next drive and next series and stuff like that. And then it started getting smaller and smaller. We was like, all right, 2 minutes. It was like 4 minutes. What we got to do, and at the 2 minute mark, we was like, all right, what we got to do, and this and that. And then finally got to like 30 seconds. We was like, all right, we don't got to go back out there.
So you didn't even get to enjoy like watching the offense do its thing.
Yeah, I really didn't get to watch a whole lot of the last series because once it got to like the 2 minute mark, we like stopped doing adjustments, and then like at 1:30, we saw. A couple people like saw it running around the field and stuff like that. But
What jumps out to you about Florida's offense?
say it again.
What jumps out to you about Florida's offense?
They're a very fast offense, and they have a really good back and a really good receiving core. Receiver like number 81 and number 4. They're very fast and run really good routes and don't really have really consistent hands. So I think it's going to be a great matchup with our secondary, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun going out there and competing against them.
What would you see from Appleby on film?
He's a good quarterback, and I think if we get to him, we could affect him. And like I said, if we just do our job.
What's it like when you go up against a receiver like Ardarius?
We go against receivers or a receiver like Ardarius every single day. It's getting me better. It's getting him better. And, it's just a whole lot of fun going against him because he's a real physical receiver. And you're not really used to that, DB. You're kind of used to being more physical than the receiver. So when I go against him, you got to be real tough, I guess you could say, and hard going against him.
What about Callaway? Callaway's a guy they use in multiple different ways and stuff like that. Obviously, you might match up against him at Star if that's where you're at. So, what do you see from him particularly?
He's a great athlete. Like you said, he does punt return, kick return, and he's great at that. And also, he's a really good receiver, probably one of the best in the country. And he, like I said, I mentioned him before. He runs really good routes. He's really fast. He has great hands, and like I said, it's going to be a whole lot of fun going against him.
Thanks, man.